Hey everyone, it's the Cinema Swan with take 2 of the Shazam review. In case you didn't notice, you never saw take 1 because it never got recorded. I was on photo last night after seeing the premiere and took a photo of myself and then talked about Shazam for several minutes, only to take another photo of myself as I realized, wait a minute, that button looks wrong. So, let's try this again. I saw Shazam last night on its Thursday night premiere, and what Shazam is, if you don't know, is a new DC movie that's based off of a character who is a 14 or 15-year-old boy who is imbued with these powers of an ancient wizard, and he becomes essentially the champion, or like a perfect man, when he says the word Shazam. So this movie, I kind of expected based off the previews. It had high ratings, high reviews from critics, and I expected something Marvel-y, because DC rarely gets good reviews because they rarely have good movies. And so I thought maybe I'd be finally walking into something lighthearted and fun and filled with humor, like Aquaman, but, you know, without such a predictable storyline or kind of lame moments. And instead, what I got was an incredible feat for DC. They have finally blended humor with their own darker way of telling stories. Now, because I didn't realize that's what I was getting, it was darker than I expected. Shazam is so much darker than I expected, but since I was expecting something super light, I guess that's not terribly surprising. It has these 7 deadly sins that are honestly a bit terrifying and very creepy, and if you have small children, I would not advise taking them to Shazam, because the previews may make it seem like it's better for younger kids, but it is not. It has quite a bit of violence, and the monsters are quite monstrous. So I would say, you know, if you've got tough kids who can handle anything, then heck yes, go to Shazam. But if you've got kids who are like, you know, worried about what's under their bed or in their closet, I would not advise giving them a mental image of what might be under their bed or in their closet. Shazam is very funny, and it handles its humor well. It's one of the best DC movies I've ever seen, definitely the best since Dark Knight, which I know is what I said about Aquaman, but it was sad when I said it about Aquaman, and now it's not sad when I say about Shazam, because it's a really strong movie. I would say I wish that DC would learn how to do CGI. I just wish they would, because there's always something a little bit off about their CGI. There was something off about the way people were swimming in Aquaman. There was something off about the people's faces in Aquaman when they were trying to make them younger. And there's something off about Zachary Levi flying. It just doesn't look like it's actually happening. It looks like something CGI has been placed in the real world for the majority of it. There are a couple scenes where it's done well, and those are usually scenes where he and, you know, someone else might both be up in the air, and so there's no real world objects or people around them to make them look goofy. But when we see some, it just doesn't work, and I hope that DC one day gets better. I'm gonna give this one 4 feathers out of 5, because there are still those moments like the CGI, and there are a couple moments in the story where I kind of went, it could have been done better. And they started out with a really strong, terrifying scene, not terrifying like horror, but like, whoa, okay, this is intense. And then the villains never lived up to that moment again. They actually became less scary. I was less concerned about danger. I was less worried about our characters. As the movie went on, I just was no longer concerned for their safety. And I think that if you're going to have a compelling villain, I need to be worried about the hero's safety and about his family's safety. And at no point did I feel worried about them, because it became very clear that what was set up as like, oh, this is what this is, instantly became nothing. Like, oh, well, everybody's safe, whatever, they're gonna figure out a way in the end, so blah blah blah. Which, however, I will say, I did not expect the ending. The way this movie goes, it was not so predictable that I knew every step of the way. I was surprised most steps of the way. There were some things I could see coming that I think most of you will see coming, but it's a really sweet movie. And when it comes to the whole foster care and foster family, I try to be sensitive to those things, because I have friends who are foster parents and friends who have adopted children, and I'm always a little concerned with the way fostering is sometimes displayed, because it can be a rough system and it can be really hard and it can be bad. But much like Instant Family, this was really exciting to see that it was a really solid foster family system, that this group home with these two people who loved these kids well and wanted them all to feel like they were family. And the idea, the theme that family isn't always what you think it is, kind of plays out, you know, throughout the movie. And it's really beautifully done, and I really appreciated the way they handled it. And I think that the kid actors are really stellar. I was a little worried at first because when they were introduced, the scene just is kind of fast and there's some poorly done acting in there where you kind of go, oh, I don't know if they're gonna pull this off. But all of them were solid by the end. So I recommend seeing Shazam if you are at least 10 years and older, unless you're, you know, a solid kid who doesn't get afraid of anything. But, and I mean, if you're wondering about it, see it first and then decide if your kids can see it. Or message me if you have more questions. I'd be happy to answer them. Shazam was fun. Thank you for waiting for take 2. And in the comments, let me know what you think. Let me know if you've seen it. Let me know if there's other movies you want me to be seeing on your behalf. And let me know how excited you are for Avengers Endgame, because I can't